Silence is one of the most misunderstood forces in attraction. Most men think silence means weakness, distance, or giving up. They fear that if they stop talking, stop explaining, or stop reaching out, they will lose her forever. In reality, silence does the opposite, when it is used from strength rather than fear. What makes silence powerful is not the absence of words, but the presence of self-control. Silence shifts the emotional dynamic because it removes reassurance, predictability, and emotional dependence from the interaction. And when those elements disappear, something changes inside her. Most men talk too much when they feel uncertainty. They explain their intentions, defend their feelings, and try to fix emotional distance with more words. This instinct feels logical, but it quietly kills attraction. Words spoken from anxiety communicate need. Silence held with calm communicates confidence. A woman does not start chasing because she misses conversation. She starts chasing because silence creates space for reflection. It interrupts emotional complacency. It forces her to feel the absence of your presence rather than the comfort of your availability. This is where many men fail. They confuse silence with manipulation or punishment. True silence is neither. It is the natural result of self-respect. You are not withdrawing to provoke a reaction. You are withdrawing because you refuse to overinvest where balance is missing. Stoic philosophy teaches mastery over impulse. The impulse to speak when emotions rise is one of the hardest to control. But the man who can remain silent while staying centered holds immense power. His silence is not cold. It is composed. When silence is used correctly, it creates emotional contrast. She remembers how it felt when you were present, not because you are begging for attention, but because your presence was calm, grounded, and valuable. Silence highlights that value without you having to say a word. This does not work for men who disappear in anger, resentment, or insecurity. That kind of silence repels. The silence that makes her chase is rooted in emotional control and self-direction. It says, without words, that your life remains full, purposeful, and unmoved by emotional turbulence. In this video, I will explain why silence works on a psychological level, the mistake most men make when they try to use it, and how to hold silence in a way that naturally draws her back without chasing, manipulation, or loss of dignity. If you've ever wondered why explaining more made things worse, why chasing pushed her away, or why pulling back suddenly changed her behavior, this video will connect the dots. Stay with me, because once you understand the power of silence, you will never feel the urge to over-explain again. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course, it's a brotherhood. A private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community, enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Section number 1. Silence removes emotional dependency. Silence becomes powerful the moment you stop using words to regulate your own anxiety. Most men speak not because something needs to be said, but because silence makes them uncomfortable. They fill gaps with explanations, reassurance, or emotional confessions, hoping to stabilize the connection. This habit creates emotional dependency, not attraction. When you remove unnecessary communication, something critical happens. You stop outsourcing your emotional balance to her responses. You are no longer speaking to feel better. You are choosing silence because you are already centered. That shift alone changes the dynamic. A woman feels emotional dependency long before she understands it intellectually. When a man constantly checks in, explains himself, or seeks reassurance, she becomes the emotional anchor. Her responses regulate his mood. This creates pressure, not desire. Silence breaks this pattern. It signals self-sufficiency. It shows that your emotional state does not rise and fall based on her attention. This independence is deeply attractive because it creates emotional safety rather than obligation. Many men misunderstand this and think silence is about ignoring or punishing. That mindset always backfires. Silence only works when it comes from inner stability. If your silence is fueled by resentment or fear, she feels it immediately. Emotional tone matters more than behavior. Stoicism teaches that the highest form of control is control over self. When you choose silence, you are practicing discipline. You are allowing space instead of filling it. And in that space, her emotional awareness increases. When communication stops being constant, she begins to feel the absence of your presence. Not because you are gone, but because you are no longer available on demand. That absence creates reflection. Reflection creates emotional pull. This is the moment where many women begin to reevaluate the connection. They remember how you made them feel when you were present. Calm, grounded, safe. And that memory becomes more powerful when contrasted with silence. An intelligent man does not announce his silence. He does not explain it. He simply returns to his purpose, his routine, and his emotional center. His life remains full. His energy remains steady. When silence is held this way, it does not feel like distance. It feels like strength. And strength naturally invites pursuit. Section number 2. Silence triggers. Reflection, not resistance. Silence does not make a woman chase because she feels ignored. It makes her chase because it removes emotional noise and forces reflection. When you stop filling every gap with words, explanations, or reassurance, her mind finally has space to process the connection without influence. Most men think attraction grows through constant engagement. In reality, attraction deepens through emotional contrast. When everything is always available, nothing is felt. Silence interrupts routine and brings awareness back to what was taken for granted. When you go silent from a place of calm, her emotional system does something important. It starts asking questions, not desperate ones, but reflective ones. She begins to replay interactions, remember how she felt around you, and notice the absence of your presence in her emotional landscape. This is why silence must never be reactive. If silence is used as a tactic, it creates resistance. But when silence is natural, grounded, and unannounced, it feels different. It does not feel like punishment. It feels like space. Stoic men understand that people value what they must feel, not what is constantly explained. Silence allows her to feel the connection instead of being told what it means. And feeling is far more powerful than understanding. Another mistake men make is breaking silence too early. The moment discomfort appears, they rush back in with messages, jokes, or apologies. This stops the reflective process immediately. The emotional loop resets and attraction remains flat. Silence works because it gives her ownership of her emotional response. She is not reacting to your words. She is responding to her internal experience. That ownership is what creates genuine pursuit rather than temporary curiosity. An emotionally grounded man is not afraid of being misunderstood for a short time. He trusts that his consistency, not his explanations, defines him. Silence becomes a filter. If she is emotionally invested, she moves toward reconnection. If she is not, clarity arrives without conflict. This is why silence never chases outcomes. It reveals them. The moment she begins reaching out, asking neutral questions, or re-establishing connection without drama, it is not because she lost control. It is because silence allowed her to feel the absence of something valuable. The Stoic man does not change behavior when this happens. He remains steady. He responds calmly, without emotional spikes or interrogations. This reinforces emotional safety and deepens attraction. Silence does not manipulate, it clarifies. And clarity is what turns emotional uncertainty into desire. Section number 3. Silence restores your masculine frame. One of the most overlooked effects of silence is how it restores your masculine frame. When a man speaks constantly to explain, reassure, or fix emotional tension, he slowly shifts into a reactive position. His behavior becomes shaped by her moods, her responses, and her level of engagement. Silence reverses this dynamic. Masculine frame is not dominance or control. It is self-direction. It is the ability to remain grounded in your purpose, values, and rhythm, regardless of emotional fluctuations around you. Silence reinforces this because it removes the need to respond to every emotional stimulus. When you stop talking unnecessarily, you stop reacting. And when you stop reacting, you regain leadership over your emotional state. This is felt immediately. Even if she cannot articulate it, she senses the shift. Your presence becomes steadier, heavier, and less predictable in a healthy way. Many men unknowingly lose attraction by over-communicating. They try to manage the connection verbally, clarify everything, and smooth out every emotional ripple. This creates familiarity without depth. Silence restores depth because it reintroduces mystery and self-containment. Stoic philosophy emphasizes control over impulse. The impulse to speak when silence feels uncomfortable is one of the strongest urges to overcome. When you resist it, you demonstrate discipline. Discipline is attractive because it signals strength without aggression. Silence also removes the emotional bargaining that often weakens a man's position. No more explaining why you feel the way you do. No more negotiating attention. No more seeking reassurance through words. You simply remain present in your life. This does not mean becoming distant or cold. It means being selective. You speak when your words add value, not when they relieve tension. That selectivity is what restores your frame. When your frame is strong, she does not feel the need to manage you emotionally. She does not feel pressure to reassure or regulate your mood. That freedom allows her to experience attraction rather than obligation. This is why silence often triggers pursuit. She feels the shift from emotional dependence to emotional independence. And independence is magnetic. An intelligent man understands that words are tools, not habits. Silence is one of the most powerful tools because it reveals who you are without explanation. It shows that your life continues with or without constant validation. When silence restores your frame, everything else aligns naturally. Attraction becomes effortless. Communication becomes intentional. And your presence becomes something she feels rather than something she analyzes. Section number 4. Silence makes her feel the emotional gap you used to fill. One of the most important reasons silence makes a woman chase is because it exposes the emotional gap you were filling without realizing it. When you were present, calm, attentive, and grounded, you were providing something subtle but powerful. You were offering emotional stability, presence, and a sense of ease. Silence removes that comfort and allows her to feel its absence. Most men underestimate how much emotional regulation they provide when they are centered. They think attraction comes from words, compliments, or constant engagement. In reality, attraction often comes from how a man makes a woman feel when nothing dramatic is happening. Calm, safe, understood, balanced. When you go silent from a place of strength, that emotional regulation disappears. Not aggressively, not dramatically. It simply stops being available. And when something that felt stable is gone, the nervous system notices. This is where chasing begins, but not in the way most men imagine. It is not panic or desperation. It is curiosity mixed with emotional awareness. She starts to feel a subtle discomfort, not because you did something wrong, but because something familiar is missing. Silence creates contrast. When your presence is no longer constant, she begins to compare how she feels now versus how she felt when you were there. That comparison brings emotional clarity, and clarity often leads to reconnection. Men often break this moment by rushing back in. They feel the tension and assume silence is hurting the connection. So they text, explain, or check in too soon. That removes the contrast and restores emotional comfort without requiring reflection. Stoic discipline teaches patience. When silence is held calmly, it allows the emotional gap to be fully felt. And once felt, the desire to close that gap arises naturally. Another important detail is how you return after silence. When you reappear without apology, without emotional intensity, and without explanation, it reinforces strength. It shows that silence was not a tactic. It was simply you living your life. This is what separates effective silence from manipulative silence. One is grounded, the other is reactive. Women can sense the difference immediately. Silence also prevents overexposure. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop diluting your presence. Your words regain weight. Your attention becomes valuable again. And value is what creates pursuit. When a woman begins to chase after silence, it is not because she wants attention. It is because she wants the emotional state your presence created. And that state can only be accessed through reconnection. Silence does not force desire. It reveals it. Section number 5. Silence filters. Desire from convenience. One of the most powerful effects of silence is that it separates real desire from simple convenience. When you are always available, responsive, and emotionally present, it becomes difficult to know whether she values you or merely enjoys the comfort you provide. Silence removes convenience and reveals intention. When a woman is only engaging out of habit, boredom, or emotional comfort, silence creates distance without reaction. She does not move toward reconnection because nothing meaningful is missing. But when a woman is emotionally invested, silence creates awareness. She notices, she feels it, and she responds. This is why silence is not about chasing outcomes. It is about observing truth. It shows you whether your presence is valued for who you are or merely for what you provide emotionally. And that clarity is power. Most men try to earn desire by doing more talking, more explaining, more reassurance. Silence does the opposite. It removes effort and allows desire to surface on its own. What rises in the absence of effort is what was already there. Stoic men understand that attraction cannot be negotiated. It cannot be argued into existence. It can only be revealed. Silence creates the conditions for revelation. Another mistake men make is interpreting silence as passive. In reality, silence is active restraint. It is a conscious decision to stop feeding a dynamic that lacks balance. It requires discipline because the urge to reach out is strong when uncertainty appears. When you hold silence without resentment, something important happens internally. You detach from outcome. You stop needing her reaction to validate your worth. This detachment is felt immediately, even if it is not spoken. Emotional independence is magnetic. If she begins to chase after silence, it is because desire was already present and now has space to move. If she does not, silence still serves you by freeing your energy from a dynamic that was never aligned. This is why silence always works, regardless of outcome. It either strengthens attraction or delivers clarity. Both are wins for a disciplined man. When desire is real, silence does not scare it away. It draws it forward. When desire is weak, silence exposes it without conflict. The Stoic man does not fear either result. He values truth over comfort. And silence is one of the cleanest paths to truth in attraction. Section number 6. Silence only works when it comes from inner strength. Silence is not magic. It does not work because of timing tricks or psychological games. Silence works only when it comes from inner strength. This is where most men fail, because they try to use silence as a tactic while remaining emotionally attached, anxious, or reactive on the inside. A woman feels emotional energy before she processes behavior. If your silence is filled with resentment, fear, or expectation, she senses it immediately. That kind of silence creates tension, not attraction. It feels heavy, unstable, and manipulative, even if no words are spoken. The silence that makes her chase is calm. It is neutral. It is grounded in a man who is genuinely okay whether she returns or not. That emotional independence is the real source of power. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control outcomes, only conduct. When you choose silence from self-respect rather than strategy, your behavior aligns with your values. You are not trying to provoke a reaction. You are simply refusing to overextend where balance is missing. This internal alignment changes everything. Your nervous system stabilizes. You stop checking your phone compulsively. You stop rehearsing conversations in your head. You return to your purpose, your routine, and your direction. And that internal shift is felt externally. Many men believe silence is about ignoring her. It is not. It is about returning attention to yourself. The moment your life becomes full again, silence stops feeling like effort and starts feeling natural. This is also why silence cannot be forced. If you are using silence while waiting desperately for a response, you are still chasing, just quietly. True silence releases outcome. It says, without words, I respect myself enough to step back. When silence comes from this place, her reaction becomes secondary. Whether she reaches out or not, you remain centered. And paradoxically, that lack of need is what often triggers pursuit. Women are drawn to emotional certainty. Not certainty about the relationship, but certainty within the man. Silence communicates that certainty more clearly than words ever could. If she returns to a man who has not collapsed, chased, or begged. If she does not, you have already moved forward internally. Either way, silence protects your dignity. This is the final truth most men avoid. Silence is not about making her chase. It is about becoming the man who does not need to chase at all. Section number 7. Silence forces her to reevaluate your value. One of the deepest reasons silence makes a woman chase is because it forces a reevaluation of value. When you are constantly present, available, and emotionally expressive, your value becomes familiar. Familiarity is comfortable, but it dulls awareness. Silence removes familiarity and replaces it with contrast. When you go silent from strength, you interrupt her emotional autopilot. She can no longer rely on your attention as a constant background presence. That absence creates a subtle but powerful question in her mind, not spoken aloud, but felt internally. What did I lose access to? This is where value becomes visible. Value is rarely felt when it is abundant. It is felt when it is no longer guaranteed. Silence does not lower your value. It reveals it. It creates a moment where she must reassess how much your presence mattered, how you made her feel, and what changed when you stepped back. Many men unknowingly destroy this moment by returning too quickly or re-engaging with the same emotional energy as before. When nothing changes internally, nothing changes externally. Silence only works when it is paired with self-respect and forward movement. Stoic men understand that value is not proven through words. It is demonstrated through boundaries. When you stop giving access without reciprocity, you communicate worth without saying a single sentence. Another important detail is that silence removes negotiation. You are no longer trying to convince her of your importance. You are no longer selling your presence. You simply live your life. And in that detachment, value either becomes undeniable or irrelevant. If she begins to chase after silence, it is not because she suddenly realized she wanted attention. It is because she realized she lost access to a man who brought emotional grounding, consistency, and presence into her life. Silence made that loss visible. If she does not chase, silence still completes its purpose. It confirms that your value was being consumed, not appreciated, and that clarity saves you time, energy, and emotional investment. This is why silence is never a gamble for a disciplined man. It either elevates attraction or delivers truth. Both outcomes protect self-respect. The stoic man does not cling to potential. He responds to reality. And silence is one of the cleanest ways reality reveals itself. When you understand this, silence stops being something you do and becomes something you are. You stop reaching, not to provoke pursuit, but because your life no longer revolves around uncertain dynamics. And that is the final shift. The moment silence reflects inner stability rather than strategy, attraction follows naturally, not because she is chasing, but because you are no longer chasing at all. In short, silence does not work because it is mysterious. It works because it reflects self-control, self-respect, and emotional independence. The moment you stop speaking to regulate anxiety, explain yourself, or chase reassurance, the entire dynamic shifts. You move from reaction to presence, from uncertainty to calm authority. Most men are afraid of silence because it forces them to face themselves. It removes distractions. It removes emotional crutches. And in that space, truth appears. Either attraction deepens or clarity arrives. Both outcomes are valuable. Silence is not distance. It is discipline. It is choosing not to overinvest where balance is missing. It is allowing space for reflection instead of filling it with noise. And when silence comes from inner strength, it does not push her away. It pulls awareness toward you. If she chases after silence, it is not because you manipulated her emotions. It is because your absence revealed the value of your presence. If she does not, silence still served its purpose by freeing you from emotional imbalance. The stoic man does not fear either result. He understands that chasing drains power, while presence restores it. Silence is simply presence without words. Remember this. The goal is never to make her chase. The goal is to become the man who no longer needs to. And when you reach that point, attraction becomes a byproduct, not a pursuit. If this message resonates, understand that mastery does not come from one insight. It comes from structure, discipline, and repetition. That is why men who truly change do not walk this path alone. Inside the Stoic couple community, we build emotional control, attraction psychology, boundaries, and Stoic clarity step by step. This is not motivation. It is a system, a framework you carry into every interaction. If you are ready to stop chasing and start attracting naturally, the link is below. Join once, grow forever, stay calm, stay disciplined, and let silence do the work words never could. Remember, knowledge means nothing without action. If you're ready to rise above emotion and lead with purpose, join the community today at the link below. Enroll once, grow forever.